Have you ever felt truly lost? Not just missed a turn lost, but deep in the wilderness, sunny setting, every tree looks the same kind of lost. Now imagine that, but add a brutal Oregon storm and the chilling realization that you might not make it through the night. This is the story of Greg, an experienced hiker who found himself in that exact nightmare. But what he encountered in the heart of the storm is a tale that will make you question everything you think you know about the wild. It all started as a perfect day. Greg set out on a familiar trail in the vast forests of Oregon, a place he knew like the back of his hand, or so he thought. He decided to explore a small, unmarked offshoot, a path he'd never taken before. The thrill of discovery was intoxicating. Lush ferns, ancient moss-covered trees, the quiet hum of nature. It was paradise. But as hours melted away, that thrill slowly curdled into unease. He turned back, confident he could retrace his steps, but the forest had other plans. Every direction looked identical. The sun, his only compass, began to dip below the jagged horizon, painting the sky in ominous shades of orange and purple. That's when the first icy drop of rain hit his face. Panic is a cold, creeping thing. For Greg, it began as a knot in his stomach. He'd checked the weather. It was supposed to be clear, but the sky was now a churning, dark grey cauldron. The gentle breeze turned into a howling wind, tearing through the trees. The drizzle became a downpour, soaking him to the bone in minutes. His phone had died hours ago. His map was a soggy, useless piece of paper. Shivering, disoriented, and with darkness closing in, Greg knew he was in serious trouble. He found a small overhang beneath a cluster of rocks, a pathetic shelter against the raging storm. Hypothermia was a very real, very immediate threat. As he huddled there, teeth chattering, a profound sense of despair washed over him. This could be it. This could be his final night. Through the roar of the wind and rain, he heard something else. A sound that didn't belong. It wasn't a deer, it wasn't a bear. It was a low, resonant vocalization, something between a deep hum and a guttural call. It sounded intelligent. Fear, sharp and primal, shot through him. He was not alone. He strained his eyes, peering into the gloom, and then he saw it. A massive, shadowy figure standing just beyond the tree line. It was tall, impossibly tall and broad, covered in what looked like dark, shaggy hair. It was a silhouette against the stormy sky, a creature straight out of folklore, his heart hammered against his ribs. Bigfoot. It couldn't be, yet there it was. It wasn't moving aggressively. It was just watching him. The creature took a step forward, and Greg flinched, pressing himself harder against the cold rock. But it stopped. It let out another low rumble, and this time it sounded different. Less like a territorial call and more like an invitation. The giant figure turned its head, gesturing with a massive arm toward a path Greg hadn't seen, a barely visible trail leading deeper into the woods. It was madness, following a mythical beast into a storm-lashed forest. But what was the alternative? Freezing to death under a rock. His survival instincts screamed at him, but a strange, unexplainable feeling of trust began to bloom in his chest. The creature seemed to be waiting for him. Taking a shaky breath, Greg pushed himself away from the rock and took a step. Then another. He decided to follow. The journey was a blur of terror and awe. The creature moved with an uncanny grace, its massive feet barely making a sound on the sodden earth. It navigated the treacherous, storm-swept terrain with ease, always staying just ahead of Greg, glancing back periodically as if to ensure he was still there. It led him away from steep drop-offs he would have stumbled over in the dark and guided him across a swollen creek at a shallow point he never would have found on his own. The wind howled, lightning flashed, but Greg's focus was locked on the silent giant leading the way. But the fear was still there, a constant hum beneath the surface, but it was now mingled with a profound sense of wonder. This creature, this legend, wasn't a monster. It was a guide. It was his only hope. After what felt like an eternity, the terrain began to change. The trees thinned out. The creature slowed its pace, and Greg could see a faint, flickering light in the distance. A cabin, a campsite. As they drew closer, he could make out the unmistakable shape of a dirt road and a small, rustic ranger station, a single light burning in the window like a beacon of hope. His legs almost gave out from relief. He had made it. He was safe. The creature stopped at the edge of the clearing, melting back into the shadows of the forest. Greg turned, his heart overflowing with a gratitude he couldn't possibly express. He wanted to shout thank you, but the words caught in his throat. He just stared at the spot where his savior had been. He raised a hand in a silent wave of farewell. From the darkness he heard one last soft grunt, a response, an acknowledgement, and then, as quickly as it had appeared, it was gone. Just the sound of the rain and the wind remained. Greg stumbled the last 100 yards to the ranger station, his mind reeling. The ranger inside was shocked to see a half-frozen hiker emerge from the woods in the middle of the night, miles from any marked trail. As Greg warmed himself by the fire, sipping hot coffee, he recounted his story. The ranger listened patiently, a knowing look in his eyes. He didn't laugh or call him crazy. He just nodded slowly and said, "The woods are full of things we don't understand. You're a lucky man." Greg never saw the creature again, but the encounter changed him forever. He returned to civilization with a story that most people would dismiss as a hallucination brought on by hypothermia and fear. But Greg knows what he saw. He knows who led him through that storm. He was a lost man on his final night, and he was saved by something wild, mysterious, and unexpectedly compassionate. It makes you wonder what other secrets are hidden deep within our planet's last remaining wildernesses. What other guardians are watching over the ancient forests? Greg's story is a powerful reminder that sometimes the greatest legends are not just stories, but living, breathing realities waiting in the shadows. What do you think? Was it a figment of a desperate mind, or did Greg truly have a close encounter with the legendary Bigfoot? Let me know your thoughts down in the comments. We love hearing your own unexplained stories from the great outdoors. If you enjoyed this journey into the unknown, please give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more incredible true stories. Thanks for watching and stay curious.